June 29th, 2024. A 17-year-old girl sends a simple text to her father. "I'm home. I love you." 2 hours later, she vanishes. Her car is still in the driveway. Her keys are inside the house. But Trinity Bostick is gone. At first, police believe she ran away with someone she loved. But just 4 days later, a road worker makes a horrifying discovery in the woods near a Tennessee highway. A teenage girl, shot in the head. And the evidence that followed would reveal something chilling. Text messages about running away together, stealing a car, committing robberies, a boyfriend who claimed he hadn't seen her in years, and a dash cam that quietly recorded the truth. What really happened that night? And why would someone kill the girl who was willing to throw her entire life away for him? This is the tragic case of Trinity Bostick. The girl with big dreams. Just northeast of Nashville lies a small Tennessee town called Lafayette. Quiet streets, rolling countryside, the kind of place where everyone seems to know each other. This was home to 17-year-old Trinity Bostick. Trinity wasn't the type of teenager people expected to disappear. She had goals, big ones. She wanted to join the army someday and eventually become a lawyer. Friends described her as funny, energetic, and thoughtful. She even posted videos online talking about life, relationships, and personal growth. In one video, she said something that now feels haunting. Life gets easier when you learn to forgive. Trinity worked evenings and weekends with her father, Timothy. He owned a small auto repair and body shop. The two shared a love for classic cars. They welded together, repaired engines together, and talked about the future. To Timothy, Trinity wasn't just his daughter. She was his partner. The day everything changed, Saturday, June 29th, 2024. That morning, Trinity and her father were working at the shop. At one point, Timothy praised her welding work and suggested they start fixing an old pickup truck after lunch. But Trinity had another idea. She told him she wanted to go home and do some yard work first. Timothy agreed and dropped her off. At the time, nothing seemed unusual. But by 4 p.m., something felt wrong. When Timothy returned home, Trinity's car was still parked outside. Her keys were inside the house, but Trinity was nowhere to be found. At first, he thought maybe she went for a walk, so he texted her. "Answer the phone." No response. 2 minutes later, "Hello." Still nothing. 3 minutes later, "Hello?" Now panic started creeping in. This wasn't normal behavior for Trinity. Then Timothy remembered the last message she had sent him earlier that afternoon. At 2:08 p.m., she wrote, "Home, I love you." Just 2 hours later, she had completely vanished. By 4:17 p.m., Timothy sent another message. "Okay, I'm going to call the cops." And he did exactly that. A runaway. Or something worse. Police initially believed Trinity had run away. Friends later confirmed that she had talked about leaving home and starting a new life. One friend said Trinity even texted her, saying she planned to disappear, but the story still didn't make sense. Trinity had left behind her car, her keys, her wallet. Things most runaways would never abandon. Then, later that evening, something strange happened. At exactly 5 p.m., Timothy finally received a message from Trinity's phone. It read, "I am okay. Sorry." Just one line. After that, silence. No more replies. No more calls. And by the next morning, her phone had completely disconnected from the network. The horrifying discovery. 4 days later, on July 3rd, a Tennessee Department of Transportation worker was cleaning trash along Vietnam Veterans Boulevard in Hendersonville. While walking near the tree line, he noticed something disturbing. Human remains. Police quickly secured the area. The body belonged to a teenage girl. She was wearing gray jogging pants and a green tank top. Nearby, investigators found broken eyeglasses, a spent 9mm shell casing, and a live round. The victim had been shot in the head. The bullet's downward trajectory suggested something chilling. The shooter had likely been standing over her, and Trinity had been sitting or crouching. It appeared she had no chance to defend herself. The next day, the victim was officially identified. It was Trinity Bostic, the 17-year-old who had vanished days earlier. The secret relationship. Even though Trinity's phone was missing, investigators were still able to retrieve data from her cellular provider. What they found changed everything. Trinity hadn't run away alone. She had been communicating with someone, a boy from her school, 17-year-old Fernando Perez Mejia. The two had dated in the past, but Trinity had told her family that relationship was over. According to her sister, Fernando had cheated on her. He had even shown signs of abusive behavior. Yet somehow, they had secretly reconnected, and their messages revealed a shocking plan. The teenagers wanted to run away together. But not just that. They talked about stealing a car, robbing people, and disappearing to start a new life. One message read, "Baby, just come with me. I need you." Another suggested something darker. Unless we steal a car and switch the plates, they were planning crimes. And on June 29th, that plan finally began. The last person to see her alive. Phone records revealed that Fernando had picked Trinity up that afternoon. The two spent hours driving around Tennessee. Their phones moved together across multiple counties. But the most damning evidence came from somewhere unexpected: Fernando's car. Inside was a dashcam. It didn't record continuously, but it activated when the car hit bumps or sudden movements. And those recordings captured pieces of their final day together. At 2:30 p.m., the dashcam showed Trinity sitting in the passenger seat. She was using her phone. Investigators later discovered what she was doing. She was disabling location tracking. She didn't want anyone to find her. Over the next several hours, the couple drove around discussing their plans. At one point, they even talked about which cars they could steal. Then something even more disturbing happened. Around 6:30 p.m., the dashcam recorded Fernando adjusting his hoodie, then reaching under his seat. For a moment, a handgun appeared in frame. The moment everything went wrong. Phone data showed the couple stayed together until around 9 p.m. Then their phones briefly separated. Later, they reunited. And just after 9 p.m., the dashcam recorded the last footage of Trinity alive. She was hugging Fernando. Just minutes later, their phones traveled to a dark roadside area along Highway 386. At 9:54 p.m., Fernando's phone disconnected from the network. It stayed offline for 20 minutes. Prosecutors believe this was when the murder occurred. When the dashcam activated again at 10:20 p.m., Fernando was driving. Alone. Trinity was gone. The lies: when detectives visited Fernando's house, he acted surprised. He claimed he hadn't spoken to Trinity in years. He even referred to the case as that thing on the news. But investigators already had the messages. They knew he had picked her up that day. During the interrogation, he kept denying everything, until eventually, his story changed. Fernando suddenly claimed there was another person with them, a mysterious man named Jose. According to Fernando, Jose had joined them during the drive. He claimed that Jose followed Trinity into the woods and returned alone. But detectives didn't believe him, because while Fernando was talking, police were searching his room, and what they found destroyed his story. Inside his closet was a bag containing Trinity's belongings: her AirPods, her pants, and her debit card. Even worse, under the driver's seat of his car, investigators found a handgun. Ballistics confirmed it fired the same shell casing found at the crime scene. The trial: Fernando Mejia was arrested and charged with first-degree murder. He pleaded not guilty. The trial began in February 2026, but the evidence against him was overwhelming. The texts, the dashcam footage, the cell phone tracking, the murder weapon, and the fact that his story about Jose had absolutely no proof. Prosecutors believed the motive was simple: Fernando had a new girlfriend, and Trinity may have threatened to expose their relationship. If that happened, his double life would collapse. So prosecutors argued he made a brutal decision to eliminate the problem forever. Justice. After only a few days of testimony, the jury deliberated for just 25 minutes. The verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. Because Fernando was only 17 at the time of the crime, he could not receive the death penalty. Instead, he was sentenced to life in prison. Trinity's family sat in court as the sentence was read. Their daughter, their sister, was gone forever. A girl who once dreamed of joining the army and becoming a lawyer. All because she trusted the wrong person. Someone she loved, someone she believed would run away with her. Instead, he left her alone in the woods and drove away. Sometimes, the most dangerous people in our lives are the ones we trust the most. And sometimes, one decision can change everything. Forever. This was yet another shocking story exposing the hidden depths of crime in America. If you value truth and in-depth investigations, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you're the first to get our latest reports. Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know which story you want to see next. Stay with our America Crime Depth Reports and uncover the truth behind every case.